When you receive files, just as I mentioned, quite a common format would be the DWG file. DWG is not only 2D, just as I mentioned before, it could contain 3D data. Sometimes it really contains objects, 3D buildings and things like that. The only caveat with that is that sometimes there is most of the time there is no texture in it. It's only colors. It's actually not supporting the texture. So if you would like to import, for example, a furniture with that nice wooden carving and everything like that on it, you won't go with the DWG file. If you don't have anything else, just the DWG file, fine. You just go with that and import it. The only difference between the previous import, when you import a DWG file with 3D content, would be that the software will send you a warning message that, okay, this DWG file contains 3D data too. Do you want to import that? And then when you say okay, you will see something appearing in the 3D. But other than that, the whole thing is the same. Talking about real 3D formats, I mean those that are meant to be used for 3D data, there is the 3ds, OBJ, FBX, SKP. This is what I will cover in live now. For example, let's start with the 3ds file, which is a very widely used, rather old file type, which contains usually furniture and things like that. Now, as you can see, a 3ds file is not only one file, it's actually a package of files. There is the texture, there is some sort of other file, we don't know what's that at this point perhaps, and there is a 3D file. So worth note that when you work with external files, just keep an eye on whether that file, like for example the 3ds or the OBJ or other files, are usually not just one file containing everything, but a bunch of files. So just keep them as well next to it. Otherwise, you
might end up with missing texture or incorrect geometry. So let's see how it imports, and most importantly, how we can use it.
Yeah. So if I would like to import a 3ds file, I could go to File, Import 3ds. That's one of the options, and I can browse for this file. But let's just use another way, because this is also very convenient. You can actually just drag and drop supported files into ARCHLine, and when you release the mouse, it will bring up a dialog, for example, in this case for the scaling. I mean, scaling the model, because we will see whether what we see is correct in size or not, because the software measures the size of the content and tells us if it's okay or not. Well, actually it's not okay, but not because of the model has any sort of problem, because previously I used a different scaling, and it's I don't know, hundredth of the original size. Yes. So I just go with 1:1, and now it's okay. This is something what I should see, and let's say okay, place it. The software offers automatically that I can save this into the libraries of the software. I can go any sort of libraries. Sometimes I just simply go to the My library and I just set up a category like, I don't know, this will be like shaders or something like that. I don't know the producer now, and I can even fill up the BIM parameters if I know any of those.
Because they don't come with any data whatsoever.
Yeah, these are not BIM files. These are just simple 3D files, which later you can fill up with BIM data. Okay, let's just go with this one. Yeah, we actually did that before, so I just overwrite it and then I just place it. So see, the software automatically generates a 2D shape, which you can align in the 2D, and once you place it, it will automatically create a 3D representation of that object as well. Now
you might need to fine-tune its position.
Yeah, because the bottom of this object is here, and the software cannot tell whether it should be elevated or something like that. So I just enlarge this content and I just use this here, and I can either manually tweak it, finding a better position, or I can just simply, type a distance or just grab one point and align it next to the top of the column, for example. So this is how you import a 3ds file.
Are OBJs any different than that?
OBJs are quite similar. If you go and find an OBJ file, I actually have one here. It's something similar. I actually have the same shade in an OBJ format, so you can tell the difference is only that it's organized in a different way, and of course the content is a bit different. Sometimes the OBJ can hold more information than a 3ds file. So if I have to recommend one of these three, I would recommend going with the OBJ file because it will be better than the 3ds or the DWG most of the time.
You did briefly mention SKP. Now,
yeah.
that's a file format which is pretty widespread, and that's maybe because of the 3D warehouse. There's a large amount of user-generated data in this format, so it's important to know how you can import that.
Yeah. So actually, there are two ways to do so. If you already have an SKP file, someone sent it to you, or you download it from somewhere as a file on your hard drive, you can just, again, drag and drop it into the project and tell the software, okay, let's just work with that. And again, always check the size of the model before you import it,
this would
because
be
this
pretty
would be
huge.
larger than our building, so it's just too large. I need to downscale it. I think this is why I downscaled it to 100, because previously when I tried it, I realized the same thing that I realize now. It was too large. Now it's correct, and I just simply place it. Again, I save it to my libraries, and this should be plans, for example. Later I organize the content and okay, say yes, overwrite it, and just place it somewhere nicely in a 3D surface, because there's a difference between importing something into the 2D or into the 3D. In 3D you have the freedom to select the surface. In 2D it's expected that you always place the things on the ground floor. But now I actually select the ground floor as well, but after that I just rotate the model, click once again, and then I have this plant over there.